Hey everyone, and welcome to All About Sports, the podcast. I'm your host Mazhar here today, and we're bringing a very special episode with a very special guest. And no guesses on what the topic is. It's the UFC. And joining us here today is Ronit Pitale. Now, just a bit about Ronit. Ronit has been following the UFC for over a decade. When we used to sit and watch WWE, he was the one who actually sat and watched the UFC fights and actual blood in the octagon rather than us watching ketchup being thrown everywhere. So glad to have you here on and looking forward to it.
Yeah, Mas, thanks. So, yeah, I have been exposed to that violence for over 10 years now. So, I'm hoping some good's going to come of it.
So today we'll be discussing the next big UFC event. And for all those MMA fans, I'm sure you know, it's UFC 254 Nurmagomedov versus Gaethje. So before we get into it, I'll just want to run through the entire UFC main card. So here we have the main card. So the main card is going to feature five fights because the one lightweight fight between Islam Makhachev and Rafael Dos Anjos was cancelled sadly because Dos Anjos tested positive for COVID-19. So we'll have a look at the other fights. Of course, the main event is and the highlight worthy event is the lightweight fight for the championship between Khabib Nurmagomedov from Russia and Justin Gaethje from the US. So we have a nice nation battle going on there as well. We have the middleweight co-main event between the Australian, the Reaper, Robert Whitaker, and Jared Cannonier. So expecting that to be quite a gritty fight as well. Then we have the heavyweight fight between Alexander Volkov and Walt Harris, and Ronit knows very well this is my favorite weight class when it comes to fighting. Then we have the women's flyweight. So there's a new entry, Lilia Shakirova. Sadly, because again there was a positive case there. It's crazy how they keep getting positive cases and they still go on with the events. So expect that to be an interesting fight because we don't know too much about Lilia Shakirova. And finally, the last fight we have is the light heavyweight fight between Magomed Ankalaev and Ion Kutelaba. So, Ronit, we'll get to all of these smaller fights later. Let's talk
Yeah.
big now. Let's get into the lightweight category. Nurmagomedov versus Gaethje. Nurmagomedov 28 and 0. We all know that. Uh, I'll just switch over to getting into the tail of the tape. So as we know, Nurmagomedov is 32, Gaethje is 31, not much difference in age. Even if you see their body structures, they're pretty much the same. There's not much different in terms of their weight. Of course, they have to meet that weight class. It's not like the heavyweights where there's a huge disparity in terms of the weight allowed. Their reach, which is so important in combat sport, is also the same at 70 inches. Of course, Khabib's coming in as a huge favorite, minus 295 as per most of the betting websites, and Gaethje's at plus 240. But nothing is won on paper. So, Ronit, I would love to have your opinion on this fight and some more expert input into this.
Yeah, sure. So, I think just to begin with, that's a pretty crazy line. I mean, Habib minus 295 and Gaethje plus 240. I mean, if I were a better, I think Gaethje might be a good pick because you're getting fantastic odds, right? But again, who would dare to bet against Habib, which is also, I think, a big factor to consider here. Um, I mean, just right off the bat, I mean, when we talk about Khabib, everyone knows that he's going to take you down and he's going to keep you there, and you know what he's going to do. Can you stop it? So 28 people have not been able to stop it, and the question is, can Gaethje do it? Uh, Gaethje has fantastic wrestling credentials. It's not like he's not a good wrestler. But then I think Daniel Cormier said it. There are levels to this game, right? When he spoke about MMA, when he spoke about his own division as well. He said there are levels to this game, and Habib's wrestling is just at a level where how do you stop it? Because see, there are two aspects right to the wrestling part of it. One aspect is against the cage, and the second is your open wrestling. So even within the octagon, I think where Habib shines the brightest is against the cage. So while Justin may be able to fend off the takedown, may be able to hold his own in the center of the octagon, it's when we move toward that cage is where things will get a little dicey. So I mean, just off the top of my mind, even in the McGregor Habib fight, right? McGregor was doing, I mean, he wasn't able to completely stop it, but he did a fairly decent job, I would say, when it came to, fending off Khabib a little bit in the open space. And mind you, McGregor has good MMA wrestling, but he's not a wrestler at the end of the day, right? His takedown defense is good. He got taken down against Chad Mendes as well, but he managed to get up, he managed to tire him out. Gaethje is a wrestler and he is a pedigreed wrestler. So, I mean, just coming to think of it, the key for Habib in this case will be can he take it to the fence as quickly as possible? And the key for Gaethje is will he be able to keep it in the center of the octagon or no? And I think that will be the key differentiating factor because the thing with Habib is it's not like he has these super. I mean, of course, he does have explosive takedowns, but he's not the type of wrestler who's just going to blast you into a double leg or like wildly try to slam you or something like that. He has that chain wrestling. So he's going to go to a high crotch, then he's going to go to a single leg. He's going to try and trip you. He's going to do anything he can to get you to the ground. And it's not about whether Justin can stop the first or the second or the third takedown. Can he
Like we
do
saw
it
in Connor.
right? Can he do
Right.
it move after move after move after move? And if you ask me, 28 men have not been able to do it. Something tells me Gaethje is not going to be that 29th man who's going to be able to do it. So yeah.
So I like how you brought up the entire takedown part. Of course, that's very important. But I was just uh, browsing through the stats. The takedown average for Khabib in 15 minutes per 15 minutes is 5.09. Gaethje has none. So when you just look at that stat, it's really terrifying to see how Gaethje will manage to keep the game. Firstly, yeah, like you said, I think it's going to be impossible. Let's not forget it's 5 rounds because it's a championship fight. The average fight time for both these fighters, Khabib averages close to 14 minutes, Gaethje 10. So for Gaethje, the key will be to knock out Khabib. Uh, Connor tried it, but of course, Connor was not at his best, at his peak. There were lots of things. I think he was trying too hard, or was trying to be too cautious to avoid getting taken down by Khabib, and that sort of took away from his game. I think the expectations on Gaethje are less, so that might play into his favor. But you can never bet against this guy.
Yeah.
We've done it twice before, and he proved us completely
True.
wrong. So,
True.
yeah, it's pretty interesting that you mentioned all of this. I'm quite looking forward to seeing how Gaethje answers his critics because let's face it, we okay, we did predict that Gaethje will beat Tony Ferguson, but not the way he did. He absolutely mauled uh, Ferguson into a complete. It was like he was just flipping eggs on a frying pan. So that's why I'm quite interested to see how Gaethje matches up, or even can handle the takedowns because there's no doubt he will be taken down. And like you said, if he goes to the cage, then it's finished.
Yeah.
There's no way that he can get out of that chokehold. It's nasty. I think Joe Rogan had once said it, and it keeps popping up in the UFC game as well, where he can wrestle a bear, and that's how good Khabib is. So
True.
yeah, great, Ronit. So I'm assuming by this you basically are picking Khabib to take this one.
I'm not picking against him, if that's what you're asking me. But I actually think you brought up a really interesting fact about Gaethje when you said that you spoke about his takedowns. Uh, if you recall, I mean, not now, I mean, if there are people listening to this who have been following the UFC for a while, Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, right? Fantastic defensive wrestler, never shot a takedown. That's Justin Gaethje for you. He calls himself the highlight reel. He wants to keep it on the feet. He wants to put on a show. So for him, wrestling is just a way to keep it on the feet. And for Khabib,
Mhm.
wrestling is the way to win the fight. So it's more like an offensive wrestler versus a defensive wrestler. So that, like you brought up, I think a fantastic stat. But the way that I look at it is, uh, Gaethje doesn't want to use his wrestling until he has to, and
Mhm.
Khabib wants to win off his wrestling. So
So,
yeah, I'm not picking against Khabib.
but so you brought that up, and Gage's takedown defense is pretty good. It's 80%, and for considering how he just breaks loose and is on the attack, it's not too bad a stat because you're always vulnerable when you're attacking, especially against some people who are really quick, and Khabib is one of those. So it'll be uh, quite. I think that's where Gage wins or loses his game. Is yes, the thing is you can never tell with some fighters who are not so technically gifted, but they are just raw fighters. And Gage is street man, and that's what we love about him, and that's what we are actually looking forward to seeing. I hope he doesn't have reservations like Connor did and comes in all guns blazing because it's going to be this fight can be one for the ages.
True. Yeah,
So.
definitely agree with you. Definitely agree with you. And the thing about Connor was that he admitted it himself that when he came into this, he said we were too focused, and so did Coach Kavanagh, I think, Connor's coach, that we were too focused on what Habib was going to do to then try and implement our game plan. I don't think that's going to be the problem with Gaethje. He's evolved a hell of a lot since he first joined the UFC. He's not brash anymore. He keeps his composure. He times his shots. He picks his finishes. And uh, although I don't think that that should be a problem with Habib because Habib's not the type of guy who you can just rush and then finish it off with. But at the same time, I mean, it's going to be hard because how do you bet against Habib? But if someone had to do
Just
it, yeah,
but we said the same thing about Connor. We said the same thing. Well, Tony Ferguson still, I feel, is even though he lost to Gaethje,
yeah,
I do feel that Tony Ferguson is the most well equipped to probably beat Khabib. But
yeah.
we can get into that later. I just read this quote today itself, and it gave me goosebumps. Khabib said, "I will take him to the deepest ocean and drown him." I'm
Mm,
getting goosebumps right now when I say it.
yeah.
I wouldn't want to step into a ring after a man says that. There's
You,
no way, man. So. I just want your opinion on that
yeah,
particular statement. Just shows his intent, right?
you know, as scary as that sounds, I've heard Justin Gaethje say, "I'm willing to die in there." So you have a man on one hand who's telling you he's going to take you to the deepest waters and drown you, and you have this other gentleman who's willing to die in there.
Wow.
What else do you want? What else do you want, right? I mean,
Roll on 25th October. Roll on 25th October.
tell me about it. Tell me about it. But yeah, so two fearless man. These guys.
That's the charm about the UFC, and that's what we love. Anyway,
True.
let's not forget this is not the only fight. Yes, it is the highlight fight.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be the one of the all-time greatest fights as well. But we have the co-main event, and it's not something that we should overlook. It's in the middleweight category. It's got one of the most underrated, I would say, champions of all time in Robert Whitaker, uh,
Maybe.
who is still the
Maybe.
number one contender in the middleweight category behind Israel Adesanya, of course. And Jared Cannonier, who's making a comeback after his surgery or the pelvic injury or whatever it was, he went on a rampant run, three in a row, fought really well. But he's 36 going up against a 29-year-old. What's your take on that fight?
I mean, like, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, Robert Whittaker, the Reaper, Bobby Knuckles. I mean, one of the most underrated champions. This guy has beaten Yoel Romero twice. He's beaten Yoel Romero twice. Let that just take a second to let that sink in. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And uh, honestly, I mean, contrary to the first fight that we spoke about, the main event where we were just harping on the wrestling, there's going to be no wrestling here. Let's not make any mistake about that. Cannonier is Cannonier is a striker. Robert Whittaker, fantastic defensive wrestler. Let's be honest, he's not going to shoot. So what we're going to expect here is a good stand-up battle. It it may be a chess match over here because I mean, Cannonier is someone who's dropped 100 pounds. He's gone from heavyweight to light heavyweight, and now he's a middleweight. And at middleweight is where he's really hit the ground running. I was looking at his record. Some of his losses, I mean, Dominic Reyes, who was the number one contender, Jan Blachowicz, who's now the champion. I mean, he's lost to the cream of the crop. So no shame in losing to those guys, right? Uh, the only thing, like you said, for me over here is I think age is a huge factor. I mean, I didn't even know Cannonier was 36. That's pretty astonishing. And the counter aspect to that is he knows that this is his only run, right? He's not going to make a second run at 40. So maybe you see that hunger somewhere in Cannonier because he's become a knockout artist. The guy's upped his cardio, he's upped everything in his game. He doesn't have to worry about the wrestling this time. So that I think should help. Whitaker, so the two Romero fights and then the Adesanya fight that he had, there were huge gaps between them. Now he's coming off fresh. He's coming off fresh of the Darren Till fight. He has that spring in his step. Maybe he's ready to make a second run, and this should be good. I mean, my pick personally would still be Robert Whittaker. It's not like I don't feel that Cannonier can take it or he doesn't have the skill set, but I think Whittaker is just on another level. Taking nothing away from Cannonier's win streak, I think Whittaker's at a different level. And in the striking, it's going to be a striking battle. Whittaker's going to outstrike him and take it.
So, what's crazy about this particular fight, Ronit, is the fact that they are pitched at even odds. And what I mean by even odds is 7 betting websites have actually picked Cannonier as the favorite. And while the other 5 that I saw picked Whittaker. So, it's a bit tricky. I also, like I said, I think it comes down to the fact that they do underestimate Robert Whittaker. His record is 22-5. Cannonier's fought in 10 fights less than Whittaker as well. Has a record of 13-4. Whittaker, like you said, has age on his side. So I think pace will be somewhat of a hurdle that Cannonier has to overcome.
At the same time, I mean, I was just talking about Cannonier and how he dropped through weight classes. Whittaker actually went up a weight class. So Whittaker used to be a 170 pounder, had a terrible time there, stopped dehydrating, stopped killing himself. He's up to 185. He became a world champion. Cannonier has been dropping down those weight classes. Whittaker he's not a big middleweight. He used to be a 170 pounder. Cannonier, on the other hand, is a solid full-size middleweight. I don't think strength should have too much of a role to play in this one. That being said, Whittaker has lost to Adesanya, who, let's be fair, Israel, he's on another level. Right now, the style bender, he's on a level. No shame in losing to that guy. No shame at all, right? Whittaker can take a shot. I mean, he's taken Yoel Romero's power. What does he have to fear in Cannonier's power? I feel if you can take Romero's shots, and I don't think his chin is really deteriorated. He's taken idle rest between his camps. He's a smart fighter, and he's probably not going to get into like a slugfest with Cannonier either. He's probably going to be very cerebral in his approach. So I personally think he has nothing to fear. Maybe he outpoints Cannonier. Maybe he gets a TKO. I don't personally see him knocking Cannonier out flush, but I feel he does. The one thing that works for Cannonier is his power, and Whitaker can take a shot. So unless he's going to overwhelm him like Adesanya did, he's going to keep making him miss, keep exhausting him, which I don't see happening. I think it's going to be a good night for Bobby Knuckles.
I love that you brought up the fact that he can take hits, because I just pulled up that stat. He absorbs 3.65 significant strikes per minute, and that is more than what Cannonier has taken. So, and his average fight time is 12 minutes 20. We all know he's a champion, so there's no question about his chin, I believe, as well. And I think you highlighted that perfectly, that if he can handle Romero shots, I don't think Cannonier should be a problem. Fantastic, Ronit. So let's move on to the next fight, the heavyweights, Volkov and Walt Harris. Now,
Right.
I just love this. I just love heavyweights because they barely ever go to decisions, and even when they do, it's a complete slugfest. That, as you rightly had mentioned, heavyweights are a complete slugfest. Volkov, Drogon. I mean, he's only 31 and he has a record of 31-8. He's going up against Walt Harris, who's been through so much in his life, came back and lost his first fight, put on a show, did refuse to get knocked out, made it to the decision. Of course, still lost, but uh, Volkov is going to be a massive favorite here. And do you see any chance for Harris in this fight?
I do see a chance, and honestly, I'm giving him more than a puncher's chance. The thing with Alexander Volkov is he's done well. I mean, this is a very silly and base way of putting it. He's done well until he's not. And even, I mean, the two fights he's lost, Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades recently. The Derek Lewis fight, it was literally he was winning the fight till he was not.
Right.
So Lewis came back last minute, big power punch. Volkov got carried away. He's a fantastic fighter. And the Curtis Blades fight, he just got overwhelmed with Blades, his wrestling, his takedowns, etc. Walt Harris is a good wrestler. It's not like he can't take him down and he can't keep him there. Of course, Curtis Blades is on another level altogether when it comes to wrestling. Uh, Probably now, after DC is gone, perhaps the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. So, may not be at that level when it comes to Harris, but I definitely feel that he has a good shot. I mean, with Volkov, it's about keeping his temperament, about pacing himself, about keeping the distance. He has a 3-inch advantage. He's going to be fantastic on the feet. Obviously, this is the heavyweight division. Blink of an eye, one big shot, it can be over. Uh, so you can't count Walt Harris out in this case. But for me, Volkov's a pretty overwhelming favorite. I don't see any real upset here either.
Great. So I'm glad, because I was a bit worried that you'd go against me on this one.
No, not on this one.
All right. So now moving on to the one last men's fight. We aren't going to be talking about the women's fight because we don't have much information on Lilia, who's the new fighter. She fought in Russia and China before, so, and she's going up against the number 4 Lauren Murphy. So we're going to leave that one out. So we'll just jump right into the first fight of the main draw between Magomed Ankalaev and Ion Kutelaba. Now, this is a repeat fight for whoever has been keeping tab. Uh, so it was quite controversial what happened in the first fight between them. So Magomed had punched Kutelaba, and Kutelaba was groggy, but he was on his feet, and he tried to keep himself up, managed to do so as well, but couldn't fight back. He got punched with a combination 3 or 4 times again, was groggy on all of those occasions, but still up on his feet. And then a 5th or 6th punch came in. and then the referee stopped the fight. And Kutelaba was furious because, and you could see that he was okay because right after the referee stepped in, you could see him arguing and he was completely stable on his feet. Nothing seemed wrong. So there were a lot of question marks, and that's pretty much why there is this rematch happening. So, Ronit, what's your take on Magomed versus Ion?
Uh, Personally, I don't think the outcome is going to be much different from last time. Uh, I mean, I watched the stoppage and I think it's pretty early and it could have gone longer. But if I have to make a pick, I don't see anything that Kutlaba has in his bank that could upset Magomed in this case. My pick is Magomed. As safe as that sounds, going with the favorite again. But I just don't think Kutlaba has much to offer in this case.
Right. I'm glad you brought up the odds because Magomed is minus 275 and Kutelaba's plus 235. And I
Right.
think those odds are even better than Khabib versus Gaethje. And
Yeah.
Magomed's record as well speaks for itself, 13 and 1. Kutelaba's not too bad at 15 and 5, but I think we've seen Magomed. He's an all-round fighter. He's got great wrestling ability as well. So I'm not surprised by you picking him as well. So that's about it. Um, uh, and Ronit, just some signing off line on what's your take on which round maybe or how many rounds do you expect the Khabib and Gaethje fight to go to?
Uh, that's going to be a tough one because uh, if Khabib gets it, he gets it by submission in the third or the fourth, and he probably tires Gaethje out, drains the blood into his arms, takes his legs, and Gaethje just has nothing to give till the third and fourth round, the deep waters that he wants to drown him in. And if Gaethje takes it, Gaethje has to take it within the first two, and it's going to be a knockout.
Yeah, that brings up a question. Does Khabib have the chin that Tony Ferguson does? Tony took some big shots in the first two rounds and survived.
Mm,
Will Khabib be able to take those shots? If I'm sure Gaethje will land shots in the first two rounds. I don't
mm,
see Khabib going in for the kill so early or being able to with
right.
Gaethje having enough stamina. So what's your take on that?
Uh, Two interesting facts about Habib. One, he's never bled in the octagon, never been cut,
What?
never been cut. Habib, never been cut. Okay.
I
Second
did
fact
not know
is,
that.
second fact is the only time he's been dropped is against Michael Johnson. The man can take a punch. There is no doubt about that. The question is, can he take a punch from Justin Gaethje? Because I mean, Gaethje, when you look at Gaethje, he doesn't look like the type of guy that I mean, he doesn't have that overwhelming physique where you feel like when you look at a Yoel Romero at 185 or you look at a Tyron Woodley at 170. Gaethje doesn't give that vibe. But there are some people who just have what Coach John Kavanagh calls Connor's left hand, the touch of death. Maybe the highlight reel just has that touch of death. And if he manages to connect flush, Khabib's hopefully only human and maybe he goes down. But Khabib can take a shot if you ask me. It's probably not going to be, uh, it probably won't be a walk-off KO or a flash KO. It's probably going to be a little bit of an accumulation that he'll have to put on Habib if he has to take it. But if you ask me, yeah, this isn't a walk-off KO. Habib can take a shot.
So I guess you're right. This is all unexplored territory and unseen territory for us with Khabib. We've never seen him in disarray. Uh, we've seen him struggle a bit here and there. We've seen him be look amateurish when it's come to striking. But once he's on the ground, my goodness, there's no doubt that no one can really touch him. He's
So,
literally elite when it comes to the ground and pound. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the episode. Thank you so much for your time, Ronit. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Also, Ronit will be our expert every time we have a big UFC event coming up. and be sure to tune in for all of those. Also, we will be dropping our weekly episode on Wednesday, so check that out. It's going to be a very, very interesting topic, especially for Indians. So do not miss that. Thanks once again, Ronit, and see you soon.
Anytime, Maz. See you.